horseflies flying around the wood.
I don't either. I can't figure that one out.
Oh, God.
I don't have the leg.
I got the heart pumping. Oh, gosh. Just got a slight rough.
So my great grandmother and grandfather. Yeah. My great. Yep. In 1857. Well, I skipped from Harvard.
Well, you can all stand there around. Get a couple of pictures of it.
There's a what? Yeah. That's probably added years later.
Husmen, you know, Lacklanders, they to pay the rent for their land, for the house, they had to work maybe some days at the farm who owned the place, and they were free to get some incomes from other work, maybe carpenters, maybe working with cultivating the new land. Or
I'm just amazed it's still standing.
Did you hear?
yeah.
I'm going to give a kind of summary of what I just heard Sjur say, and Sjur can say whether I'm sure. Anyway, in 1857, Ivar Iversen Jostad and his wife Christy, who came from across the way at Kinsarvik, took their family of 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl, and left here. And I'm assuming they got on a boat, went down the fjord and made their way to Bergen. And then from Bergen they got on a sailing vessel, and it took them 6 weeks to cross the Atlantic and they came into the United States through the Great Lakes system and ended up in Chicago, and then eventually made their way to western Wisconsin. When they reached southern Wisconsin, our great-grandfather, Ivar Iverson, who kept a diary on the trip, said, "And now we rested from our long journey." Those were his closing words in this journal. Now, I'm assuming that he took notes about the trip, and then some years later, perhaps in 1863, did this document that we have, written in Norwegian and also translated. He was a man of letters. We know that because he was a teacher over here. And he became, and he was very literate in both the English and the Norwegian. We have a book that indicates that he studied geography and mathematics and farming techniques in the English language once he reached there. But he came from a poor area here to a not much more wealthy area there. Beaver Creek in Wisconsin is not a flourishing farm area. The ground is not deep and black like it is in Iowa. And my speculation has always been that the older children born here got out of there as soon as they could. Several of them had married, including your forebear, and your forebear came. Well, her forebear was born in Wisconsin, Robert. So they had at least one more child.
Two more after that.
Two more
boys.
children in Wisconsin.
Three.
And then her forebear, Robert, made his way out to Washington, as did her forebear eventually. Although your grandfather, your great-grandfather ended up in Superior, Wisconsin. And now these two both live in Washington, and sure, they have found us through the internet, and they are to be greatly pitied. So anyway, the other thoughts that I've had about this, and I first saw this with my sisters, Lorraine. Where are you, Lorraine?
She didn't make it.
She didn't make it, huh? No. I'm going to carry her up here. Donna and I first came here with a friend of theirs in, was it 1986, I think, thereabouts. And Shure brought us here. And I couldn't remember that it was Shure who brought us here, but Lorraine was sure of it. So at that time when Shure brought us here, we were allowed to go into the house. And in the house there was a chair that we think, I think if I remember correctly, you said dated back to that era. At any rate, I took pictures of my sisters sitting in that chair. The house is part of land that is now owned by neighbors, and the neighbors doesn't have a key, and I don't think we want to go in anyway, because it's pretty much broken down now. But we've been here, we've seen it, we praise God for it, knowing that we have a life because someone decided got to do something different. Now, his teaching here, now sure, you could help me with this, because I'm not at all confident about this. There's a school now, a building on the other side of the fjord, as I'm told, an historic building that was once a school over here.
Well, there is an old house, a log house, you call it, dated back to the 12th century. There it was rather big house, so in one room, and that house was also used as a school classroom. Because at that time the school system were like the children were maybe in school a few weeks, and then the teacher moved to another place, to another class, taught the children there a few weeks, and then he
made the rounds.
Came back after a month or two maybe. And then they had no school houses. That came a bit later. Yeah, maybe the first came around 1850. When I was in school, I went to the house where David is living now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's our old schoolhouse.
The Scotsman we met,
Oh, I see.
that was Shure School.